And for Errol, it's not going to be easy to overcome that. That's a lot of psychological stuff that goes into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hardwired all these years to be the guy. I'm a big fish, and he was, right? And then when that happens against the other top dog, I don't care who you are. You got to do some soul searching. You got to do some digging. You're going to have good days and bad days. It's like somebody died. Like, bro, how did that happen?
What up? What's going on, y'all? Much love, peace, blessings. Shout out to everybody checking into the channel. And I want to talk about this Andre Ward interview with Fight Hype that you guys just heard playing. The title says Andre Ward was brutally honest on Errol Spence, serious questions before ever rematching Terence Crawford. And I want to talk about what he said in this interview, give my thoughts, and we're going to break down the footage. He said a lot of things in this interview. We know we got Tim Tszyu is getting in there with Fundora, and it has a lot of implications for what's going on with the rematch between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. And also we got Tim Tszyu and Fundora, and just, you know, shaking up at that division of possible fights that could be happening in the future. And I want to give my thoughts, but before I do so, I want to welcome everybody to the channel. Much love, peace, and blessings. I'm Get a Mike. Welcome back to Gym Boxing. We're going to really try to get some videos done here, and we might go live tonight for the fight. So if you guys want to come back, come join the channel and kick it with us, man. We're going to try to have a little bit of fun. Now, let's get into some of this Andre Ward interview real quick.
Boxing IQ, you know, yes, as one of the smartest fighters, technical fighters. Yeah. First for Errol in the rematch, you know, possibly with Bud at 154. A lot of people thought it was a physical thing. Some people say it's a skill gap. What do you think Errol can do to defeat Terence Bud Crawford?
But they not gonna fight though. Yeah, I thought the rematch wasn't gonna happen. Am I missing something?
Well, if Errol fights the winner of Tim Tszyu versus Fundora,
yeah. So if you guys realize, you know, there was a lot of talk that the rematch might not happen, but like we just seen Errol Spence put on social media that he want that work between the winner of this fight coming up. We know that Tim Tszyu, you know, he said something along the lines of he'll fight Errol Spence, he'll fight Terence Crawford, whoever got the most money. You know what I'm saying? So we see this thing starting to get shooken up a little bit to the point where it's going to be interesting to see who fights who and how this whole thing play out. But we know Errol Spence is trying to get back in there. We know he took a big loss to Terence Crawford. A lot of people believe Errol Spence Jr. is still a huge star, even though he took a L. We know in boxing, you know, one loss don't define your career. Okay, he's done a lot up to this point. A lot of people just feel as though Terence Crawford is just levels above. And there's still some chess moves that need to be made in order for Errol Spence to get a rematch if he wants one. And also Terence Crawford is still trying to do strategic moves as well, so he can move up the, you know, continue to stay at the top and move around and try to get some titles at the other weight classes. But let's get back into it. He said some really serious things in this interview, and I kind of want to get into it, so let's do it.
If they both move to 54, they might end up clashing.
Yeah, listen, man, like, anything is possible, bro, but it's not going to be easy to overcome that. And for Errol, it's not going to be easy to overcome that. That's a lot of psychological stuff that goes into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hardwired all these years to be the guy. I'm a big fish, and he was, right? And then when that happens against the other top dog, I don't care who you are. You got to do some soul searching.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. Anytime you take a loss like that after being looked at as the, you know, the top boxer, one or two top boxers in the welterweight division, he's been, how can I say, going through a lot of people, looks like easily, right? He's been through first round knockouts, you know, going the distance with people, losing fights, coming back to stop guys. So Errol Spence has, over the years, you guys know on this channel, we've been covering it and looking at it. We've been going to fights. But Errol Spence has been looked at as the top guy, the way he's been dismantling guys. We know Errol had his issues with the car accident and, you know, the eye injuries and surgery. So we know there's been a lot of stuff going on with Errol, right? So along this roller coaster, you know, still remaining undefeated up until his last fight, to lose in the way in which he did, I think, like Andre Ward said, it does take soul searching. Okay, you do got to look and you got to check and you got to look at yourself to kind of, to figure out how you're going to come back from this. And I think that's what he's getting at in this video. So let's get back into it.
You got to do some digging. You're going to have good days and bad days. It's like somebody died. Like, bro, how did that happen? So that's the first thing you got to overcome.
He said it's like somebody died. And it kind of felt like that a little bit when Errol lost. It did kind of feel like somebody died, but let's go.
See how your body's going to respond. Not just in camp. You got to see how it's going to respond in that fight. You get hit with them small gloves on. Can my body still take it? So it's legitimate questions that Errol Spence has to answer for himself, for the world, and everybody else. So I would like to see him in a fight before I can answer that question about what he needs to do against Terence Crawford, because it's some serious questions he has to answer. And
I agree with that. And I think him getting the winner of Fundora and Tim Tszyu tonight, as a matter of fact, the fight is tonight. So if you guys watching this video after the fight, we'll come back. We're going to talk about it more. But there's still a lot of things that we need to know, okay? We need to see Errol Spence back in the ring. We want to see him get back to the form we know he can be at, you know what I'm saying? Because in the Terence Crawford fight, although Terence Crawford was the better man on the night, he looked stronger. His timing was better. Terence pretty much had, he pretty much, you know what I'm saying? He pretty much had the, why do I got, you know what? I just realized. But anyway, we realized that Terence Crawford was the better guy on the night, but we also know that Errol Spence, has shown in the past, the way he's dismantled guys, that I believe he deserves to try to get back at this thing and really, really get a chance to get out there and get back in top form so he can get that Crawford fight is basically what I'm trying to say. But I did mess up one thing on here. That's why I'm struggling right now. But let's get into it.
That's what he needed.
I got to fix that when I get out of here.
What do you think of Terence fighting the winner of Saturday's fight, Tszyu and Fundora? He's made himself the mandatory for the winner.
Hey, I think it could be good. But then all of a sudden we see a tweet from Errol Spence.
Right.
So Errol Spence, from what I know, is not going to tweet nothing like that unless there's some backdoor conversations going on saying you in position. So it's going to be interesting to see it play out.
But kind of to your point earlier about, my bad, champ, but kind of to your point earlier about, like, you got to fight the top guy. If you're Tim Tszyu, is in that scenario, you got to fight Terence Crawford instead of Errol Spence because he won that big fight. You got,
it's tricky, bro. Like, you would think that he would want Terence Crawford, right?
Right.
But Errol ain't no pushover. He's still a big name. And if Tim Tszyu, I don't know. I just met Tim Tszyu yesterday for the first time.
But yeah.
If he feels like he's not quite ready for Crawford, and it's an if, I don't know. Man, I get Errol Spence still a big.
But see, that's the thing. Tim Tszyu has to basically get past Fundora, and a lot of people are looking at him to get past Fundora, but Fundora is no pushover. Okay, he's gonna put up a good fight. Okay, he's much taller, of course. We know he don't typically fight tall. If you usually watch his fights, he'll get in there and swing with you. Okay, so I think that could be to his detriment. So I can understand how people, think Tim Tszyu is gonna win, but Tim Tszyu sometimes starts slow. You never know. Fundora could be up on the cards, and he just might not be able to get what he want to get done. So Fundora could come out victorious in this fight. We know. He got a knockout L or whatever, but for the most part, he's still a pretty decent fighter, man. I think he got a chance to win tonight. So, with that being said, you just don't know. Tim Tszyu might lose to Fundora, and Crawford may not want to give him the fight. And I think if Errol Spence shows up to the fight, and calls out the winner, the fans might be clamoring to try to see Errol Spence get in there with the winner. To try to get back on track with Terence Crawford. But, who knows what it is we're going to see tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. Andre Ward makes some good points. I don't 100% agree with him, but for the most part, he's made some pretty good points on this
one. Big opportunity, big payday. And then maybe I can get Terence Crawford. I wouldn't be shocked if that's his thinking. So we thinking, man, go to the top dude. You get all the money, you get everything in one shot. How does he feel he matches up with Terence Crawford? I don't know. Errol just came off of what he came off of.
How do you think he matches with Terence Crawford, Simpson?
I think it's a dangerous fight for both guys. But I got to lean toward the dude that's been there, done that, and showed that he can,
So basically, in other words, what he's saying is that although It's a tough fight for both fighters. We don't know how Tim Tszyu is going to feel with getting in there with a Terence Crawford, okay? Because obviously Terence Crawford has always shown no matter who he gets in there with, he ends up getting the win. So you have to consider that if you're Tim Tszyu, right? Who do I want to face next? Do I want to get in there with Errol next? If I beat Fundora, do I want to get in there with Terence Crawford? You know, I mean, if I'm Tim Tszyu, getting in there with Errol Spence could potentially be a more, how can I say, a more, I don't want to say easier fight, but a more stylistic matchup that may favor him, okay? Because Errol Spence is really, he doesn't fight in the same tactical way as Terence Crawford, if that makes sense, right? We know Tim Tszyu is get in the phone booth with you, he'll walk towards you, and he'll try to hurt you, and that's kind of similar to Errol Spence. So I don't think he have to worry about the tacticalness that Terence Crawford possesses. So I think that's what Andre Ward is basically saying in this particular situation, is that if I'm Tim Tszyu, I might want to go in the Errol Spence direction, basically after a big loss, and also just stylistically it might favor him a little bit more. But I want y'all to let me know down in the comments how y'all feel about this interview if you haven't seen it already. Excuse me. Go ahead over to Fight Hype, watch the interview. It got like 16,000, almost 17,000 views. You know, some people out here, you know, believe that, you know, everybody's ducking Terence Crawford. Somebody says Errol Spence has one loss, and this is how he gets treated. We know somebody says Errol is still good. It's just Crawford is on another level. That's why he says that's why his only loss in his career. Motherfuckers act like a loss is a death sentence. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, but, you know, what Andre Ward is saying does make sense, and I do think, you know, he took his time with his explanation, and he didn't really, you know, he was very careful, if that makes sense. He was very strategic about how he explained what he was trying to say, and I understand what he was getting at. So that's pretty much what I got for this video. If you guys like this type of content, feel free to subscribe, share the video, all that good stuff. Let me know if you guys like these type of videos where I'm reacting to videos. We'll continue with it, and we'll kind of give our thoughts based on the upcoming fights. That's all I got for this, but I really appreciate everybody that hit the thumbs up. Make sure y'all smash the thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Smash the thumbs up to this day. And and we'll be back with some more videos, man. Much love, peace, blessings, and I'm out of here like last year. Deuces.